What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 414. I think I got it wrong last week now that I'm thinking about that. But yeah, we're on 414 of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where we will be talking about the current events, the rumors, the news, the gossip, and everything else that went down in the world of professional wrestling that we feel like breaking down. We are your usual hosts here. I'm Tony Mango, and I've got Robert DeFelice with me.
What is up, wrestling fans? I'm Robert DeFelice. That is Tony Mango. Let's do some hot tags.
Different hot tags than what they have on WWE Backstage, but we've got like I don't know how many years worth of the hot tags, so we got it. We did it first. Other than the fact that they did the actual hot tags first. We stole your name first.
Yeah.
As always, everybody, make sure you join in the conversation. If you are on the audio-only platforms, you're on Spotify or you're on Anchor or Stitcher or iTunes or whatever it is, you can't leave a comment, but you should leave a rating, and you should head on over to the YouTube channel and subscribe if you haven't done it already, and you should like the video and ring that little bell for the notifications. And while you're over there, tell us your thoughts on these hot tags and anything else you want to chime in about. Shout out to Awesome Piano Man for bringing up the idea that Not Another Teen Movie is underrated. So if you want to check out what we were talking about with that, we've done some other podcasts over the past couple of days, one of them being the Mount Rushmore of comedy acts. So shout out to Marco for sponsoring that. And we will talk more plugs a little bit later on. But yeah, hot tags. Let's get into this with, I guess, probably the least consequential one, but something that I find very funny. The super tall, like 7 foot, whatever, Jordan Omogbehin, if I remember correctly, is how you pronounce that. Omogbehin. I'm not entirely sure.
He's fucking huge.
Yeah.
The overarching issue here.
Big old Jordan has a new name in NXT, and wouldn't you know, it's Big fucking Jordan. Well, it's not Big fucking Jordan. It's Big Jordan. Big fucking Jordan would be more interesting. But man, is this not the most WWE story that you can imagine?
So, Andre the Giant would have been cheesy nowadays, and that's just iconic.
He would have been Big Andre.
He would have been like Big Andre with a big shirt with an arrow pointing down to his penis, because everything's big.
Why isn't he Giant Jordan at the very least? We've got Shorty G. Like,
I think, I'm 100% serious here. How many people have been named the Giants since Andre?
Giant Gonzalez.
Andre was still alive.
I guess technically you can count Big Show being the Giant.
He was the Giant, and then when he went over to WWE,
Paul White.
They called him the Paul White, and then they finally came up with the Big Show, which, by the way, when I separate my brain from what I know, that's a really dumb name.
Oh, it's so dumb.
The Big Show. But my point being, I don't think they use the word giant, because I think, as weird as it is, probably one of those things that's like, no, that's Andre's, and it's sacred, and you don't touch the word giant.
So he should be Gigante Jordan. Actually, that doesn't sound all that bad, But just out of like the top of our heads, how many people have been big something? We've got Big E. We have Big Show. We've had
Cass.
Big Cass.
Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man. Ryback was nicknamed Big Hungry for a little bit.
That's stupid. Undertaker was Big Evil.
Big Evil. Eric Rowan was Big Red.
Kane is the Big Red Machine.
The Big Red Machine. They haven't given a big nickname to Braun Strowman yet, but he's a mountain of a man, and the monster among men. But no big one for that. But there's got to be more. That's already 8, but I know we've had more than 8.
Who used to be called Big Nasty?
Somebody was Big Nasty. Yeah,
oh, right? that was Big Show before Big Show. They were gonna call him Big Nasty.
Well, suddenly I like Big Show better.
Yeah, jeez. They use big a lot, don't they?
I got a feeling that this is probably a matter of nobody could really pronounce his last name, so he was just, Big Jordan over there. And then eventually he just became Big Jordan to
So
everybody,
how
you know?
long before this dude is on the main roster and in a comedy tag team with Shorty G?
It might be a little while, but I would not put it past them to do that.
Big J and Shorty G coming soon to the WWE Network.
Here's another question. How has he not become Big Babatunde yet? Babatunde's big.
But then again, they're also sleeping on Massive Dave Mastiff, so
Right.
what do we know?
WWE. 100% putting it out there. You absolutely need to call him Massive Dave Mastiff. It has to happen. That makes, like, I think that is more of an issue of them having an oversight than even the booking of, like, some recent pay-per-views. It's like, it just screams out Massive Dave Mastiff.
Massive Mastiff. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, the big dog.
And the big dog.
There's another
on
one.
The hunt.
Speaking of mastiffs. Why isn't he the big dog?
I don't know.
His name is a dog. It's big. He's literally the big dog.
And he's massive.
Oh, man. Surprised that they didn't call Triple H the big game. We got all big.
Well, because I think whenever you say big in Triple H, you think the big nose, you know?
If we are forgetting any kind of bigs, drop a comment below. Tell us some other bigs that were out there. Big Bam Neely or something like that. I don't know.
God damn it. What the... Wait, hold on. We're missing something on the women's side. They must have called the woman big something.
If you want to play like technicalities, they did have Ariel Monroe pop up for the Mae Young Classic, and she was Big Swole.
Shout out to her. She is going to be on AEW Dark. It's believed that she might have been signed.
Mercedes Martinez is on it too.
Yep.
And that's making me go, damn it, signed her WWE. But yeah, there's got to be another big someone or other. I know we're missing probably about like 10 or 20 of them. Actually, if you go back to years and years and years ago and everything, there's probably so many more with nicknames and stuff.
Big Bertha Faye, anyway.
Yeah. So those are just following the trend. Big Jordan, eventually, I guess he's probably going to lose. Everybody would have lost their last name anyway, so he just got big in front of it. Let's talk about, if we're talking the Performance Center, Lance Storm. He has said that he is going to be closing down his training facility and returning to WWE as a producer. So I don't know if that's really constituting like a backstage producer or Performance Center trainer, but I would assume it'd be more of the latter.
I believe it's Performance Center coach. And also Ace Steel, CM Punk's former trainer, was just hired by WWE.
What do you think about that? I think that Lance Storm makes perfect sense as being a trainer.
I like Lance Storm. I think he's a good dude, and, you know, he's got some students in WWE with Tyler Breeze and Emma for a short period of time. So I like the idea of Lance Storm. And I like the idea of Ace Steel. Two, like, fundamentally sound dudes. Not as good as Shawn Michaels, but, you know, who the fuck is as good as Shawn Michaels?
Plus, it's like, well, Shawn Michaels is in there anyways.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to go to the Performance Center? A motivated Shawn Michaels is helping you train. That should be your goal to get to WWE alone.
Just even if you did it for like a short stint, the amount of things that you get out of that is probably so worth whatever crap that you would have to go through too.
A motivated Shawn Michaels, guys. Think about that.
Oh, look at this. I'm looking at a list right now.
Yeah, I'm also looking.
Apparently, I've never heard this before. Akira Tozawa has the nicknames of the Stamina Monster and Big Over.
Damn right he is.
Big Over?
Big Over.
Brock Lesnar, the next big thing.
True.
Big Sexy and Big Daddy Cool.
We didn't have.
And Big Daddy V.
Big Daddy V.
That was another one. I was thinking Mabel earlier, then I was like, no, it's probably just because we make that joke. But Ryback was also the big guy.
The big guy.
Big Papa Pump.
Of course.
Big Booty Daddy. Big
Of
Bad
course.
Booty Daddy.
Uh,
Apparently, the Titus O'Neil not only went by the real deal Titus O'Neil, but the big deal Titus O'Neil.
he's pretty big.
Val Venus was the big Valboski.
Yeah.
It's like 100 fucking big names.
You think Lashley's gonna be the big something?
Big Bob.
Big Bob.
Bob Lashley. I hated that fucking thing. So Lance Storm, that's a thumbs up. Here's a thumbs down. 205 Live. They mentioned last week, they said, hey, 205 Live, we're going to be in Manchester, and we're inviting the NXT UK people to be in 205 Live. So look out for some NXT UK people. I would assume, Tyler Bate, Jordan Devlin, Kenny Williams. And now they said,
hey, Tyler Bate, he's a big, strong boy.
Yeah, big, strong boy, yeah. And then they said, never mind, 205 Live is, for some reason, going to be in the NXT Arena this Friday. So they are sending people over to Manchester for a SmackDown, and they should just do the 205 Live thing there. Instead, they're going to split the crowd, or the crew, I should say, not the crowd, and they're going to do the NXT UK thing, not in the UK. That makes perfect fucking sense, doesn't it?
Well, I don't think they're going to do the NXT UK thing.
At this point, they might not. They might just backtrack on that. But it is funny that they had bothered to announce that. That was the only thing that they announced. They didn't set up anything else. It wasn't like, and then next week, maybe we'll have Mike Kanellis versus so-and-so or, whatever. But, like, wouldn't it be kind of interesting and so self-defeating if they flew people like Noam Dar and whatever from NXT UK over to Florida to do this? Oh, the UK people are invading. By the way, you're Manchester. We're not going to do that there. I don't understand the logic behind this.
Well, I think they just decided let's not do those travels, especially because a lot of the 205 Live roster probably just got off a plane. Because I know some of them were in that Battle Royal.
Well, I wouldn't think that this would be a bad idea if they pre-recorded it after NXT. But as far as I'm aware, they're not doing that they're still airing it live. So that means 2 nights in NXT that they're booking aside, and they have to have the crew there to be able to film and everything.
What about this? What about if it's a test run to keep 205 Live in the Full Sail venue, to keep that relationship strong, and then have NXT go on the road?
You know what? That wouldn't shock me. That might.
There you go. You heard it here first, so it's scoops.
I will say over and over again, 205 Live is not something that I think people are ever going to really latch themselves onto anymore. Like, they had their chance with the Cruiserweight Classic because that was awesome, and they just didn't focus on it. And when WWE tells you that they don't think that something is worth something, even if it's something that you want to reject, people start following through with it. And they don't do the opposite. It's not like when WWE says, this is the best thing ever, people don't go, yes, it is. They tend to fight against that too. But if people say, yeah, well, WWE doesn't even give a shit about main event, why should I? The same thing happens with 205 Live. And I feel like everybody's just pointing to this idea of, you're going to move it to NXT at some point. Then they move it to NXT. Now it's, well, you're going to do it in the NXT Arena. Maybe that is the game plan. Maybe they want to have that every Friday night or something. Or, and this might even be the only way around it, if they don't leave the NXT Arena and they just keep doing this for a little while longer, it might be worth it to pre-tape. The people who watch 205 Live are going to watch it. The people that don't watch 205 Live, they're not going to watch it if it's live. It doesn't matter,
Yeah, I agree. Well, 100% with that. I don't know why they just don't tape it before SmackDown. I think you'd have a liver audience. You'd have, just an excited crowd, which would help the show out immensely. And also, I appreciate that they tried, but they didn't need to try with 205 Live what NXT was already doing well. Like, you have your indie style brand. Leave them be. 205 Live, it doesn't need to be its own show. That's like saying, well, we need an all women's brand, and some people out there do say that. I think that would be stepped efforts.
I think that ultimately those things crumble because then once they get past that initial reaction of like, well, now we have it, and they have to put the actual effort into it, they don't. Like 205 Live could have existed, and it could have been a good way to have like a cross-branded promotion, lots of good action and stuff, but they wanted to keep the same 7 people on the brand, and I don't know how many times you can really watch Tony Nese versus Arya Daivari where you're like, can't wait to see that this week, you know what I mean?
Are you knocking Arya Daivari, honey?
Less so than Tony Nese.
Oh, 205 Luger.
They're both good. That's the thing. Like I like them both, but I don't care about them, you know? Like at this point, I kind of feel like Tony Nese is the type of guy that he's done everything he's going to do in WWE, and unless they find a good enough tag team partner for him for NXT, they should let him go to AEW and he might be something there.
Yeah, but I don't see them giving up spots like that right now.
No, not for a little while. But maybe when AEW is like, you know, a year or 2 from now or something, or contracts situations, I don't know. Especially with what we're going to talk about for our main thing here, but I don't know. I think that might be where you're. Like, I agree. Your idea that it might be a test run thing. This might be their idea of just like, look, how about we keep the NXT crew, and we do 2 a week. You do it on Wednesday. You fly back on Thursday. You do 205 Live on Friday, and that way we can just move the whole NXT thing around. And hey, you guys are passionate. You like NXT. These are NXT guys that are going to be popping up on 205 Live. They're in the area. It's local. It makes sense. But I don't know why they're doing it this week.
Probably just because saving money on travel. Maybe I'm really betting that some of the talent just doesn't want to travel.
Tough shit for the people on SmackDown.
Well, that's different, you see, because the big dog has to go to Manchester.
Yeah, to fight Big King Baron Corbin.
Big Baron.
Let's tell you what else we have here. I feel like we should talk about this, but it's stupid. This whole Twitter beef thing between Joey Janela and Dash Wilder.
Yeah, I know nothing about this. You were informing me before we got on the air.
So, this is kind of what it was. They both attended the same UFC event.
Those
UFC
bastards.
244 something like 244. Sure, why not? So they were both there, and Janela had tweeted out something, and somebody else had responded. They said, "Find Dash Wilder and shoot an angle." And he said, "Is he the bald one or the one with hair? I'll say hello if I see him." So Dash Wilder responded with, "Please don't." And then somebody else had said, "Dash is the one with the nice booty," and then the little peach emoji. And Janela says, "Cool, I'll look for the booty with the tennis racket imprints on it. Thanks." Dash responded, "I'll look for the face that's running away with Enzo's handprint on it." And Scott Dawson responded with, "I'm the one with racket imprints on my ass anyway. Get it right."
Good for them.
To end the whole thing, as far as I'm aware, Joey Janela responded with, "I offer you a claw as a bridge of peace, and you unfortunately acted very rude. Shame that you guys weren't stuck in Saudi for another 3 days."
I offered you a claw?
White Claw?
Oh, he's one of those guys.
So,
isn't White Claw just hard seltzer? Can we? I know you don't drink.
You know what it looks like to me? That Simpsons episode where he goes to New York and the guy, he's like trying to get a pizza, and he says to the guy, "Hey, can you go across the street to get a pizza for me?" And he's like, "No pizza, only klavkalash." And he's like, "Well, all right, I'll have a bowl or whatever." And he's like, "No, stick." And he gives him that, and eventually Homer, he eats one of them, and he's like, "Oh my God, I need to wash that awful taste out of my mouth. What do you have to drink?" And he goes, "I got Mountain Dew and crab juice." And he's like, "Oh God, give me the crab juice." The White Claw thing looks like crab juice to me that you should get with your klavkalash.
Well, a White Klavkalash. But no, I think it's funny, and I think it's all in good spirit. I know he legit gets into it with Cornette, and I know that they legit like Cornette, so I don't know if they're uh, being serious, but it's just Twitter.
And it's probably two buddies joking with each other. I don't think it's like a real
I
beef
doubt they're
type of
buddies.
thing.
I doubt they're buddies, but
Really?
yeah, and just because like I doubt they know each other. Like Janela, I started hearing about Janela while the revival was already the revival, so I doubt they like know each other.
They might.
They
might not.
might.
Ultimately,
They might know Jimmy Lloyd.
Yeah. They might know Superhuman.
Well,
What was the last one that the guy did? I haven't checked it out his page in a little bit.
I think the last thing I saw him do was crash through another microwave. Only this time he like didn't sell it as hard. Like he crashed through it good because he got his revenge. You know, boop boop.
Oh my god, I love it.
You know what's fucking pissing me off, Tony, is that this guy is gonna be at WrestleCade, this big convention. He's gonna be at Mania weekend doing signings. Like, what the fuck are we doing wrong here?
We're not jumping through tables. That's what we're doing.
Jesus.
Yeah, I see it right now. October 29th, Flying Elbow Drop onto Microwave, Part 2. In case there was, like, the last one was, like, a fucking cliffhanger or something.
No, the part one was the one where he, like, went back first, and legit, the thud it makes is just nasty.
So ridiculous. I fucking love it. Let's see what else we got going on here. I haven't done any plugs yet. Let's do some plugs. If you have not followed all the other kinds of things we've talked about in the past and you don't know the score by now, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/smarkoutmoment. That is the best way for you to motivate the whole idea of doing some extra little things. I mentioned before we did the Mount Rushmore of comedy acts. That was sponsored by Marco. And Guest 5 has sponsored another thing. We are going to, actually in about like 13 hours or so, we are going to do a fantasy booking of the Invasion pay-per-view. And instead of just me doing it, all three of us are going to do one. It's not going to be a collective, like we all decide on the same card type of thing, because that would be way too difficult. But
maybe not. We were kind of talking about it.
You and I are pretty close on a couple things, that's for sure. But even if you don't have enough money to donate to the Pick Your Poison tier and you want to help out in some way beyond just the ideas of, sharing the page and liking the videos and leaving comments and spreading the word and all that other kind of stuff that's on the non-monetary side, if you got a buck helps out too. So consider doing that, or hitting up the merchandise shops. Those are Redbubble and TeePublic for not only Smark Out Moment, but also Fanboys Anonymous and A Mango Tees. And if you're wondering what the hell is Fanboys Anonymous, that is my geek culture website where I do TV talk and movie reviews and video game stuff, which I'm working on another sponsored thing from Guest 5. I'm going to be doing a Fanboys Fix-It of Pokemon Generation 1, breaking down all the things that I think that they should fix, outside of the fact that, like, I don't know anything about coding, so it's not like, oh, if they would have changed this 0 to a 1, it would have fixed that glitch with that. I don't know any of that kind of shit. So the more I started working on that over this past week, the bigger and bigger it got, to the point where now it's going to be 3 articles because I can't fit it all in one. So you're getting a lot of information on this Guest 5, but there's a Patreon for that too, obviously, everybody. So check that out if you want us to do any kind of stuff on the movie review side of things. And check out my Terminator Dark Fate rant. I can't even call it a review. It's a rant. So,
I paid good money for that.
Check out that stuff, everybody. And obviously follow the Facebook and Twitter accounts for all that other kind of stuff. Let's talk about, really quickly, since I just mentioned TV stuff and whatever, WWE Ride Along. You didn't get a chance to check this out yet, but it was Golden Gate Getaway. And it featured in one car Mojo, Rawley, and Dana Brooke. And in another one, the OC. And this was a good episode. I recommend checking it out.
Really?
I think a couple of things that were funny in this. Mojo and Dana try to pick up some people just to see if they've got like some good game. And that stuff was pretty funny. One of my favorite moments of that was Dana Brooke says to a guy, hello, sir, do you want me to take you to dinner later? And he goes, no, not really.
Ah,
It's just like, that's so mean. I like the part where they go to get something to eat. The OC does, and Gallows buys a pair of glasses, and Anderson calls him out, and he goes, "Hey, he's using ride-along money to buy glasses. I'm gonna tell Hunter." And they gave a little bit of insight to something. I don't know the validity of it, but they had brought up the idea of, if we were gonna have a girl in the OC, who would it be? They mentioned Sweet Dana, who was like, okay, so I guess that's their nickname for Dana Brooke. Sasha Banks was brought up, Fire and Desire was brought up, but then they also mentioned very quickly that Kurt Hawkins keeps saying that he wants to be their X-Pac. Which I think
I believe that. 100%.
I 100% believe it. Yeah, that's what's like struck me as the whole, like, you know what? I totally picture him backstage just being like, "Yo, let me be your X-Pac." And
what does
Ryder
that
being
even
like,
mean? Like,
I don't know, because at that point, who is who? Like, is Gallows Kevin Nash?
I think so, just because he's big.
And is Anderson Triple H? Is Styles Shawn Michaels?
But then that would make, like, Ryder would have to be added in just to be...
And Finn Balor is Scott Hall?
Yeah, sure.
Like, is that the lineup? I don't know. Strange.
Nah, Finn Balor's too...
Finn Balor would be the Triple H, maybe?
Finn Balor might be... Balor might be the Shawn. AJ might be the Hunter.
Anderson becomes the Razor.
Scott Hall. Gallows is Nash.
And Kurt Hawkins wants to be
X-Pac. There you go.
So I recommend checking that episode out. That's to see it, in my mind. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw. Not about everything, 'cause some of the stuff, like, who really gives a shit if, like, Buddy Murphy beat Cedric Alexander. I like them both.
I want to kick this off. You can shit on JR, and I think you're wrong if you do. But Jerry Lawler needs to stop. Okay, go ahead.
What does he need to stop specifically?
No, he just fucking needs to stop doing commentary. It was awkward. It was uncomfortable. It was weird. Like, he kept trying to push these things that weren't there. Like, he kept going... He called him Umbrella. AJ calling Humberto Umbrella when he did not. And Jerry just kept the whole match. He called him Umbrella, Vic. He called him Umbrella. Like,
oh, that's outside of the fact that he said, "Hey, it's like a Mexican jumping beam."
Yeah,
which was just like, oh, that might not be a good idea, Jerry.
But you see, I let that go because I'm like, that one is probably just in his memory bank.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not great, but we all know that that's how heel commentators used to get cheap heat.
Yeah.
But he kept pushing, like, I don't know. I really think Triple H wants Seth Rollins to win. Jerry, he clearly wants Adam Cole to win, King. I don't know why you keep saying that. No, he wants Seth Rollins. It's like, fucking stop.
He totally wants Seth Rollins to call him Umbrella. Well, we had a couple things that were interesting.
And not umbrellas.
Yeah, no umbrellas. No Gentleman Jack Gallagher popped up on this episode. But here's a couple things that stood out to me. They do this whole thing with Brock Lesnar's now officially on Raw. So that solves the whole champions, two of them on the same brand type of thing, which kind of defeats the purpose of having put Brock Lesnar on SmackDown to begin with. But then again, we're talking about the company that doesn't plan things out.
What do you think happened there?
With the whole to have it both on this thing?
Just an oversight?
Combination of an oversight, and I also think that means that Ronda Rousey's returning soon.
Could be.
I would not be surprised at all if she showed up, maybe even at Survivor Series, or that she shows up around like a little bit after that, and she beats Bayley for the title.
I 100% have Becky Ronda one-on-one as a WrestleMania match.
I think it's Becky Shayna.
After what we saw tonight, it might be.
Mm-hmm. And I think that Ronda wins the championship. She beats Bayley, and they push Bayley off on the side, and we get Ronda and Sasha, maybe.
Or Bayley.
And then Charlotte probably fights for the tag titles or something. I don't know.
They seem to be keen on that.
Yeah. But the whole Mysterio thing comes into play. They couldn't quite decide if they wanted to call it a baseball bat or a lead pipe, and the closer look that I had for it, I think that they took a baseball bat and they cut off the top of it to hollow it out or something. Kind of
Yeah.
looked like that. Either way, that's not the most important thing in the world. Lesnar and Rey Mysterio have a match at Survivor Series, which goes to show that they didn't plan that out either, and that this was their whole game plan of being like, look, we're doing Raw versus NXT versus SmackDown, but we can't do Bray Wyatt versus Adam Cole versus Brock Lesnar. So can you just forgive us? We're giving you Rey Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar. How about that, everybody? Don't pay any attention to that. We're sorry. It's so funny.
I'm gonna go the opposite way here and say I like what they built so far. The Brock thing wasn't gonna make sense, so just don't do it. You know, I appreciate that they just skipped over that awkward hurdle. And the matches for the brand versus brand that we are getting look amazing.
Isn't it going to be feeling so weird, though, if we get Styles versus Nakamura versus Strong, which they haven't announced yet, but at this point they're going in that direction, and we get the tag team champions against each other and the women's champions against each other, and then they're like, yeah, but not the world ones, because we don't want to do that thing that we have perfect control over.
No, because here's why. You do the whatever it's going to be, whether it's a War Games or an elimination match, and that there it is. There's 4 matches, 1, and you have a tiebreaker.
See, I think that they might do more than that, too. I don't know. This is going to be difficult, but at the very least, we know if they would have had more of a control over their own control, which sounds really stupid, but I guarantee you, if Bray Wyatt was not the champion and if Seth Rollins was, they would have done Brock versus Rollins versus
Adam Cole, yeah.
Cole. Yeah, they would have done it. And Bray Wyatt throws it all off. And we were talking about that before, but that does throw it all off. And that means that also, if you don't have them compete at some point, what do you do with Bray Wyatt at Survivor Series? And what do you do with Adam Cole?
Cole, I think, is on Team NXT.
He's either there or I think he does nothing. And it wouldn't shock me at all if the reason why they keep having him defend that title is because they're saying we're going to use him building up to that and not have him on the card.
I can't see him doing nothing. The Fiend I can kind of see leading Team SmackDown, only in that I think Fox has been really pushing that. I don't know if you've been watching the Fox Twitter account, but they've been, you know, the Avengers quote, yeah, but we have a Hulk.
Yeah.
They keep putting that out there, but it's the SmackDown logo dubbed over the guy's face going, yeah, but we have a Fiend. And I think that's funny. And I think an idea of team building exercises at the Firefly Funhouse is too good to not do. Just do it. Worry about the consequences later. And I think you can get away with it.
I think it's also a little too hard to have them, which I hope that they don't ever do again, those red lights. I don't think you can have the 5-on-5-on-5 in the red lights. It's too dark.
Unless the big idea is Miz versus Wyatt. But I can't see that being a thing.
Miz versus Wyatt, Daniel Bryan, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns. I think he's doing a title defense.
No, I think Roman and Bryan are for sure on Team SmackDown.
More than likely.
If I had to guess,
it could be Strowman, though.
If I had to guess, it's going to be 4-on-4-on-4. And it'll be... Well, no, never mind, because I was going to say Undisputed Era. But they're busy, aren't they?
Yep.
Alright, fuck it. Okay, let's... 4-on-4, it'll be Adam Cole, DIY, and Riddle against... Yeah, I'm not even going to begin to try to predict.
Yeah, because Velveteen Dream, unfortunately, he's got an injury. So that sucks, because that's one of their big players that could have made this a lot of fun. And even though it doesn't make any sense, because the War Games thing happens ahead of time like that, then, I mean, you could do Cole, Balor, Gargano, Ciampa, and Riddle as your 5.
You know what, though? Michaels and Hunter were like Yeah, we were just sitting at home and we saw this commercial. And part of me
Yeah,
goes,
it's kind of stupid.
you know what? At least they're not like, yeah, we totally knew about this ahead of time. I bet it was sprung up on them. Not like that, obviously. But I bet they were like, hey, we decided we're going to do this thing where we're going to put NXT in Survivor Series. Okay, thanks.
I'm looking at the SmackDown crew right now. There's a chance that their 5 might really suck.
Roman, Bryan.
If they don't do Roman, Bryan, Strowman, they're screwed.
Roman,
I
Bryan,
like the Miz,
Strowman,
obviously. So the Miz could be one of those.
Ali, and The Miz. Depending on what they do with The Fiend.
Yeah.
And will they be able to resist putting Baron Corbin in the match?
Oh, there's Corbin. Yeah, I totally forgot Corbin. He'll probably be in the match.
Team Raw will probably be
There's Shorty G,
Rollins.
too.
Yeah, but I don't want to see Shorty G. Team Raw will probably be Rollins, McIntyre, Randy, Ricochet,
Aleister Black, Andrade.
Aleister Black. Those are the 5.
Kevin Owens is in the mix for Raw.
Yeah, where is he, though? I haven't seen him in 3 weeks.
Rusev, Lashley, Samoa Joe. Oh, he's injured. I mean, they've got... It's all going to depend, because right now they've done... Yeah, it's champion versus champion versus champion, and champion versus champion versus champion, and champion defending the title. And it's like, okay.
But they clearly had that in mind, because remember, The Fiend versus Seth was advertised for Survivor Series.
That just pisses me off. I hate it when they do something and then they say, we've set up ground rules, but we're going to deviate from the thing because it's hard, guys, and we don't want to do our work.
I think they decided we got to do brand supremacy because that's our hook for Survivor Series. We don't want to do Raw versus SmackDown because we just separated those brands. But if we throw NXT in the mix, now it's different, now it's fresh, now we can do all 3 brands.
That just doesn't excuse the world title thing for me.
It's Brock Lesnar. He can do what he wants.
Yeah.
I like that they're going with that now. I like that. Like, that was... I did enjoy the reasoning given for Brock Lesnar moving to Raw. They said, you know, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross were traded for 2 people, and guess what? Brock Lesnar is going to be one of those people. And you know what? Brock Lesnar can do that, and you won't see Seth do it, and you won't see Roman do it, because they're not as privileged as Brock Lesnar.
That's something to speculate on. Who do you think that other person will end up being? I honestly think that WWE has absolutely no idea.
They don't.
And they're holding it as a trump card for later on at some point.
This was a trump card.
Oh, it totally was.
I couldn't even begin to tell you who should go over.
It wouldn't shock me if it was somebody on the women's division, but I don't really know how they would do that. So if I had to venture a guess right now and just kind of stake it as like, I'm going to put my flag in this person to potentially go over to Raw.
Go ahead.
I'm leaning a little bit towards The Miz.
Why? Because
USA thing.
Yeah. You think Miz turns heel on SmackDown and like helps Raw win?
I don't know. Maybe they don't have any plan to do this whatsoever, and they're hoping that people will just forget about that other person, but they just want to put it out there just in case. Because then again, we're talking about the whole Survivor Series thing. They just completely undid the whole rule of Survivor Series is Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. Here's a Raw guy against a Raw guy. So it's like, God damn it. You can't even, you started the wild card rule to fix your superstar shakeup that was a 4-week-long 2-day event. And you were like, it's 3 people. Or 4 people or whatever it was, and then it was like, oh, and Roman Reigns or whatever doesn't count, or Lars Sullivan didn't count, or whoever it was, yeah. So it's such bullshit. Rules mean nothing. But we had that. We had now we know for sure that her name is Carolina, pronounced Catalina. So that makes sense.
Bad. Because they're just doing it's Catalina.
Yeah.
What? It's Carolina?
Going forward, I'll call her Catalina, but you're not going to hear me be like, Andrade and Selena Vega
No,
defeated,
that is
you
what
know,
Carolina wants.
yeah, and Carolina and Cigarra. Like, I'm not gonna do that kind of shit. You know, I'm
Uh,
not gonna fucking pretend that I'm
JoJo
the.
was really bad at that. She would always do back when the Lucha Dragons were a tag team. She would always go, and it's Sin Cara y Calisto, the
Yeah,
Lucha Dragons. Wait, what? What
I
the
mean,
fuck
like,
did you just do? No, you can't do that. Like,
yeah, even the things that I am, like, I'm part Italian. You don't hear me go like, you know, one of my favorite dishes is chicken parmigiana. Like, you know, it's just kind of like, come on. I'm from fucking New Jersey. It's chicken parmesan. It's whatever. I'm not gonna pretend to be all like Catalina. But she is Catalina for me, as far as I'm concerned. And you know what else she is? Awful. She sucks. My God.
that is awful, Tony. Come on.
Oh, she's terrible in the ring. Like, I mean, she's brand new. They didn't give her a chance to learn. She is slow. She's awkward. She had no idea what she was doing out there. Every move that she did was garbage. I was just like, oh my God. Now I feel so bad because already I'm adding her onto my list of like the worst of the year for everything. It's like, it's November. You didn't have a chance to like have a rest of a career to so far to like build up to this. You're starting at the end and being terrible. You're probably going to win worst in-ring performances and worst woman on the roster, and I'm just like, God damn it, Catalina. Your name's not even things that make sense.
Your name is a botch.
Yeah. Botchamania. It's just I didn't like that at all. I hate this fucking Rusev and Bobby Lashley thing. It's, I don't know, like this type of humor can be funny, but it isn't. We were talking about the comedy acts before. I'm not laughing at the whole idea of like Bobby Lashley comes out and he's like, I tore my groin. Fucking Lana. I get it. Can you just end this feud already? Can Rusev just go back to Rusev Day, and can Lana? Honestly, at this point, can Lana just not do anything anymore?
Can Lana just go away?
Yeah, she's better off with just her modeling career, I think.
They seem really determined to romantically fuck with them, as they've been a part of several storylines, and I can name 3 times that they've teased her cheating or him cheating, or like what is that?
Is it that kind of textbook thing where somebody's like, I don't know how he got her. Let's try to do that, because they put them together.
That's how we got her.
Yeah, it was NXT. They were like, hey,
Well,
how about
Dusty
you two?
Rhodes put them together, I believe.
Yeah, and it ended up leading to a marriage. So it's like, you got an asset there. I don't know why they want to break them up and do a stupid Bobby Lashley storyline. I can't imagine anybody really is out there going, my God, this is quality entertainment TV. This is the best feud that we've had in years and whatever. And I almost feel like Rusev is trying to get that point across on screen too. Bob Lashley, I'm going to fuck you up or whatever. I thought it was funny too. I don't remember if I made a joke anywhere else about it, but he's like, they're doing this whole story of like, he always wanted sex all the time with Lana, and it's like, well, she's good looking. I understand that.
She's just fucking
And
Lashley left and right.
now she's fucking Lashley, so that's the whole thing. But he's like, oh, if you want to fuck Lana or whatever, go ahead and have her. But Lashley, your ass is mine. And it's like, Rusev, stop fucking people. Now you want Lashley's ass? Come on.
Well, he's gonna want him at the dinner table, at the doctor.
Right? Yeah. In the octagon. We also had the East Hampton Polo Boys tonight.
Okay, that was my favorite. The East Hampton Polo Boys. Have you ever seen a better jobber?
I'm for the people who don't know, for every week now I've been writing up a thing for Bleacher Report of the MVP of the week for Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and it's getting progressively harder and harder to write because it's like, I don't know about an MVP for these kind of shows and stuff. And when it comes to like an episode like Raw for tonight, I mean, who the hell's the MVP?
For tonight's episode?
It's got to be, I would think, either Rey Mysterio for making a statement, or Seth Rollins, I guess. It's not, the OC. It's not Cedric or Buddy. Like,
I mean, okay. Shayna Baszler had a great promo, but so did Becky Lynch. Triple H proved that he's leagues ahead of everybody in the world on the microphone. I don't care if it sounds like I'm kissing ass. Triple H is leagues ahead of everybody in the world on the microphone. They told that story so beautifully, so easily, of Seth Rollins is unsure of himself. Hey, you know that every time you're unsure, you come to me and I make you a champion. Perfect. And then you gotta think, well, the Adam Cole Seth Rollins match was okay, but I'd probably go with a tie for Shayna and Becky. As, like, great promo work, very old school, very simple. I have one glaring issue with their promo. Both of them didn't even hesitate to say, and Bayley's in the match, and I won't forget about her, but I'm looking right at you and you're all I care about.
Yeah, you might as well have had like a little ticker on the bottom of the screen that said Bayley loses.
No, I'm actually going with Bayley wins. They're going to get so preoccupied with one another that Bayley's going to slide in there with a roll up and get the win.
I'm going full on. I mean, we might change our opinions when we get to the predictions in a couple weeks, but right now I'm going full on. Shayna Baszler beats Bayley, and Becky is like out of the ring at the time or something. So that way they could be like, Shayna Baszler, she won the match. She technically beat Becky Lynch. And then when they do that one-on-one match at another point, they're like, you know, I beat you at Survivor Series and like that whole thing.
See, I'm going with Bayley because Bayley can roll up Becky, feet on the ropes, pull in the tights or whatever, and you keep Shayna Becky hot for whenever you want to do that again. You give SmackDown the win that they're going to need to facilitate the tiebreaker, even though last year they didn't facilitate anything.
No, all that did was just reiterate the point that SmackDown was not important right then.
Yeah, I like the idea though.
I don't know who I'm going to end up going with my MVP. You'll find out on Saturday when I publish or Sunday. When the hell do I publish those? I publish them on Sunday, I think. So I'll figure it out right then. But that's Raw for this week. We got to backtrack to
Hold on,
no.
Not yet.
Oh, something else happening?
Seth Rollins tweets, Baby, Adam Cole Pro is the real deal. Won't be the last time we tangle. And as for Triple H and NXT, fair play to you. It's time to play the game. And then he suddenly tweets, and lastly, Dave Meltzer, you're at best a purveyor of misinformation, or at worst an outright and vindictive liar. I hope it's the former. I don't know what that is in reference to. I don't know if it's the topic we're about to discuss.
It might be.
Let me just check Dave's Twitter real quick.
That'd be kind of strange if that's just sort of out of nowhere. Or if, like, he's tweeted out a really good pie recipe and he's just like, fuck you, it's misinformation. You can't add that kind of Crisco in there or something. You know what I mean?
Dave Meltzer, WWE not advertised Fiend for SmackDown. Yeah, I have no idea where that came from. It has to be what we're about to talk about.
More than likely, because this is all over the place, and this is probably why you clicked on this, and you're like, that's 48 minutes in, why aren't you talking about this yet? Because it's the main event, that's why. We got to talk about Saudi Arabia, and I don't even know how to unpack all that stuff. I have lost track of all the little bits of information that have happened, so we're going to bounce around quite a bit here, and you're going to fill in some blanks, I'm going to fill in some blanks, we're going to miss out stuff entirely. Correct me if I'm wrong. The story starts with they're having mechanical issues, quote unquote, and they're stuck on the tarmac. And that seems like it sucks. But that doesn't seem like it's a big deal. You know, it's just kind of like, oh man, that's a shame. They might not be able to make SmackDown. Over the past bunch of days, this has blown up to a crazy amount of other things. There is discussion about all of the following things. It wasn't a mechanical problem. It was a refueling situation that then turned into the pilots needing to go to sleep because they had passed their shift. And then that became an issue of, well, we don't have other people to kind of replace that, so you need to stay over, and that whole situation. There is the potential dick measuring contest, as it was referred to as, between the Prince and Vince McMahon. There's a potential kidnapping scenario. There is a potential that they are owed. Hugo Savinovich had said between 300 and 500 million, but I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. I think that that's like the full deal. Because it seems like it would be 50 million a year for 10 years, 500 million. But there's also a piggyback off of that says that they hadn't been paid for the last two events,
Right.
and that they weren't paid for this one yet, or that this one was part of the two, or whatever. There's supposed to be this idea that Vince McMahon ordered the feed to be cut off for the Saudi Arabia feed, which to me, that's a ballsy fucking move. And
so it's a lot of rumor and innuendo.
Yeah, none of it seems to be 100% confirmed, because for a fact that they stayed there and that wasn't the game plan. So something happened. But
Here's
is it
my
an issue with the mechanical stuff or the plane things? Is it an issue with some kind of disagreement? Is the money situation? How come some people are allowed to leave? There's so much to unpack. So toss a couple ideas out there.
Yeah, I wanna go with what superstars have been saying on social media. Specifically, Luke Harper posted on Instagram a very disgruntled photo of himself landing in America and said, and you know what? I'm pulling it up because I want to read the caption and the replies bluntly.
Buddy Murphy, I know his was never again.
Never again.
Just never
Carl
again.
Anderson said you couldn't pay me enough to go back there. And then he joked, well, I need a second pool.
Yeah.
And then his wife.
Yeah, his hot Asian wife, apparently.
His hot Asian wife replied, no, we don't need you going back there and being held hostage again.
Oh, and he did a great response, too, where he had also said, looking forward to see who the locker room leader is on Monday.
Then there's that. So then there's that.
That 1 points to me for Carl Anderson. I was like, you know what? 10 points. I like that.
Yeah, I really, this is what disturbs me. And this is why I got really upset today when I heard that they're extending the deal. Because the roster is being very open about there being a lot of issues. And to me, that says there must have been issues. Like, WWE superstars don't just randomly open up. You know what I mean?
So they will on certain things, but against the company for something that's especially a big deal, it's no, like, they might be like, oh, guys, it really sucks that, like, this hurricane happened and we got stuck and we had to cancel out our live event or something. But that's like, yeah, okay, that's whatever. For them to say things like, I'm never going to Saudi Arabia again, fuck this, I want to leave the company. You mentioned the extended deal. This, to me, is just so funny to me. Their idea to squash the rumors that there was any kind of a disagreement is to announce that they have a deal that they already had.
Yeah, so I guess it was confirmed.
It's just so stupid because it's like, hey, we don't have any problems. We're going from 2 events a year to 2 events a year. The fuck is that? That's like if I said to everybody, I do my allusions here to different changes on Smack Talk. If I'd be like, all right, everybody, big news coming here. No issues with Smack Talk. No problems whatsoever. I'm going to make the hot tags Monday night. How about that? Stupid.
So, Luke Harper on Instagram said, Larry, I'm home. I guess I didn't want it enough to pay for my own charter, but I'm home now. Hashtag not top 20. Now, this is in reference to the fact that, first of all, McMahon, Lesnar, Hogan were all gone relatively quickly. And then a second charter had flown out with Revival, New Day,
Roman,
Bobby Lashley. Fightful Select reported this. It was Roman, Lashley, Revival, New Day, and a few others. So TJ Wilson, Tyson Kidd, replies, next time we'll pool our money together instead of being lazy. Dash Wilder pokes fun at them, just hashtag poor.
I didn't see that. That's great.
Eric Young.
Oh, I love it.
Eric Young tweets or replies to that saying, "I'll pitch in next time and have a little more pride in myself and take it upon myself to be better." What a world, what a effing universe.
Ooh.
Like, you cannot tell me that something didn't happen here. You know what I mean?
Even if there's no dick measuring contest, so to speak, and there's no like kidnapping type of thing or something, even if it's just a matter of mechanical problems, we're gonna not figure the situation out, some of us are gonna leave and we're gonna leave you stranded, and Vince McMahon's gonna go and he's not gonna give a shit about what happens to you, that alone in an area that wasn't Saudi Arabia is enough for people to have every right in the world to be like, what the fuck, this company doesn't care about me, I'm just a worker monkey, and if they would replace me with somebody else in a minute, they would totally do it because I'm just a number. And as long as Vince got out, that's all Vince cares about, and that kind of thing. I would totally be in their shoes if that was the case. And you magnify that with hostile territory stuff, potential quote-unquote kidnapping type of scenarios, which might be complete bullshit, I don't know. But you're in an area where it makes sense, you know? I wouldn't think that that would be like as applicable if they were in Hawaii, you know? It wouldn't be like, oh my god, there's a threat of kidnapping in Hawaii. Probably not. It's probably a threat of like a luau. But
You ever have a threatening of a luau?
never been to Hawaii, so they've never been able to threaten me with. If they threaten me with some pineapple, I'd eat that shit though.
Yeah, pineapple's delicious.
Yeah, best fruit by far, and I say that knowingly being a mango. But that's a stupid ass joke. This whole Saudi thing is like, if I were anybody for the most part, I would be like, you know what? I don't ever want to go back to there. Why would I want to? You know, is the payday really worth it when you're potentially risking your life, or at the very least, you know that you're working for a scenario where you don't matter? And this charter thing is very interesting because was WWE paying for that for the top people? Or did they literally just spend a whole bunch of their money for it? And
I could see Roman being like, fuck this shit, I gotta get home.
Maybe. Now, Ali was part of the people. He had said ahead of time that he was going to donate his money again. Stand-up guy.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Ali's in that territory of being like, oh, I can't like spend that money on that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to donate it. But WWE as a company, they have enough money. They should not be putting the burden on everybody else to figure out their own flight home, you know?
I feel bad, but you know, it was one of those things, you know how Callum, I don't know if he says this stuff on the air, but sometimes when these issues come up, he's like, I have a hard time supporting this company, knowing what they're supporting. When I heard that they were flaunting the deal being extended, even though it was kind of just official now, I really felt for like a second, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna support this company. Like, I hate that they're doing this to people when these people have families.
It's really looking bad. I mean, we've talked about how crazy this year has been for WWE and how many shots to the gut that they've taken in so many different ways. Some of them justified, some of them not. I mean, like,
look at them. They still got the Jordan Miles shit to deal with.
Yeah, the Jordan Miles stuff isn't like, that's not squashed.
That's not going away.
Yeah.
Like,
he had tweeted out something earlier. He had said like if he doesn't hear by them by the end of the day or something.
I wonder if he heard from them today. He didn't say anything, so maybe he did.
Maybe. Or maybe he's just going to tweet something tomorrow. But like that's not, you know,
that's not going away.
If that would have been the only controversy going on these past 2 weeks, it still would have been a horrible situation for them. Or if the ratings were the only thing that was going on, that would have been a bad situation. The stock falling, if that wouldn't have been another thing. You know, there's just more and more and more and more that's pointing at this being like, my God, WWF is, WCW, oh my God, I'm all over the place. WWE is looking like WCW. And not WWF.
Yeah. just a terrible thing. And
Which, by the way, good timing, guess 5 for the invasion thing.
right, another plug that real quick. Just another one of those weird. Like, we've been doing this 2001 Wrestling Odyssey, and this year that wrestling is changing again. And now, just as 3 brands are going to war for Survivor Series, we're doing 3 brands going to war for
Yeah.
Invasion. Like, beautiful timing by Guest 5. I love it. But for real, WWE needs to get their shit together. They promote such rah-rah, we love everybody propaganda, for lack of a better word, that I feel like they really need to start showing that they care.
I don't know how they really fix a lot of these issues, too. Like, this Saudi thing, there's no way for them to come out of this and look good, I think, unless maybe, and this is kind of like it takes its sort of shot away from it, but I don't know. What if they said, you know what, our principles are too much, and we don't want to do this deal anymore, and we care more about the WWE universe than the Saudi Arabia thing. That makes them look better, but it doesn't undo what happened.
It would
And
have, if that would have been their immediate response to this, they could have saved some face. It'd have been like, oh, we got in, we got some money, we got out, we did the women's match, we won. But they went the opposite way and said, we love Saudi Arabia, we're going to be there 10 more years.
Yeah, and even if they were to backtrack on that, they'd lose out on all that money, which is like, that's going to be insane for them to have to do that. I don't know, man. This is like, that's difficult. I don't think they come out of this looking good no matter what they do.
Yep.
And this is going to be potentially one of those things that really, like, I mean, shit, even if you think about it as the idea of like pulling out of the Saudi deal, that could cause an international incident.
Yeah.
Like, this is beyond just WWE.
How has CNN not covered this? Why has CNN not covered this? Why has NBC not covered this? Why are you leaving it up to dirt sheets?
Why are we talking about this more than some of the other things?
Yeah, why are you leaving this up to us?
Yeah. I mean, this is bad on so many levels. It's bad for WWE, who has gone through a rough-ass 2 years. Going back to, maybe this is a karma thing. Maybe they shouldn't have had Goldberg win that title from Kevin Owens.
Yeah. Up yours, Goldberg.
It sounds kind of stupid, but a lot of this, I think, kind of stretches back to that. Think about, I mean, obviously that's not like, oh, that's the reason why Roman Reigns had his leukemia situation, or that this guy got injured, or this Saudi thing happened with that. But like, look at like the first Saudi show, they had the whole Chris Jericho, Rusev, Undertaker thing.
Yeah.
The Saudi deal was originally like an issue and whatever. We've had the Crown Jewel, a major issue of last year. And we could go through all the stuff that happened in the last year and stuff, but we've already talked about Crown Jewel sucking and the 24/7 title being immediately like the ugliest thing, and it was just saved by R-Truth. And the third hour of Raw is going to be different, and let's bring Lars Sullivan in here. And we're also going to bring in these NXT people, but we're not going to do anything with them because we don't know what to do with them. And Lars Sullivan is a racist or whatever, and then Lars Sullivan is injured, and all,
Still racist.
100 things throughout this past year and a half and stuff like that. But like, what happened before all that stuff had started in like October or September or whatever, before the Roman Reigns thing with the leukemia, was months worth of people don't want to see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. You had the title match at WrestleMania that nobody gave a shit about, and you just said, we're going to stall and we're going to wait and we're going to put the title on Roman Reigns later. and people didn't like it, and they turned Braun Strowman heel, and they didn't like that. That didn't get Roman Reigns over. Then they did the crown jewel thing and whatever. But go back further than that. How did you get to the point of Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns? You had it from a year-long title reign of Brock Lesnar. And how did you get the Brock Lesnar title reign? Because you needed to have the Goldberg thing. How did you get the Goldberg thing? You took it off of Kevin Owens. And that pissed off Jericho. And that was one of the other things that annoyed Jericho, who happened to be annoyed about the cruise thing with the NXT people. And Jericho goes off and he helps with AEW.
Yeah.
If they would not have had Goldberg beat Kevin Owens to put the title on that to do the Brock Lesnar thing, we avoid a year-long title reign of Brock, a half of a year worth of Brock versus Roman. Roman is still going to have leukemia, unfortunately, but he's not the champion that you just take the title off of at that time, that you aren't fond of until that moment. They avoid the pointless heel turn of Braun Strowman. They avoid Jericho leaving and helping out AEW, which eventually could have potentially stopped AEW from even happening at all. So they don't need the boost of the competition, which doesn't make them look bad. I mean,
Tony is laying down some real connecting dots, and it's amazing, right? This is why you need to be subscribed.
Which, let's take it back a little further. The Goldberg and Brock thing doesn't happen if Goldberg's kid doesn't want to see Goldberg. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So y'all blame it on
kid.
What's his kid's name again?
No idea.
Oh God, for some reason I want to say Dallas. No, that can't be right. Or Nash or something. No, Nash is JoJo
Nash
and
Bray Wyatt's
kid.
Bill
Goldberg Jr.
Hold on.
Billy Goldberg.
Little Billy Goldberg. Gage AJ Goldberg.
There you go. Gage, yeah. So
God, he's going to grow up to drive a monster truck.
Ladies and gentlemen, driving the fuck you, or whatever the hell they name these things nowadays. Gage AJ Goldberg. So, if you don't like WWE from 2019, blame Gage. Obviously, it's not his fault, but yeah, blame fucking Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. God damn it. It all comes back down to that.
Yeah, it's started out as a little funny bit, but I actually...
it makes sense, doesn't it?
It makes more sense than it should.
So go ahead and tweet the picture of Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia connecting the dots and tag me in it, because clearly that's me. But oh man, I am very curious how this Saudi situation plays out, and if this ends up being the type of thing where people don't sign their contracts to renew, if this ends up leading to a mass exodus, or if this is one of those rare instances where WWE gets their ass saved by just blind luck and something happens that convinces people to not pay attention to it anymore. It could happen, but...
They almost got lucky with the first NXT thing. Because at NXT on the first night, everybody was like, this is great. Why are we mad?
And I like how some people were like, this is great. They should stay in Saudi Arabia for another week. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this all plays out. Obviously, if there are more stories to talk about, there will be more on the hot tags. There will be more on future editions of any kind of discussion that would be applicable to that. But it could be a big, big story that not only applies to WWE, but could apply to a lot of different things going forward. It'll be very interesting. I think that rounds out the hot tags. Anything else to talk about?
I'll do a once over just to, check.
I can plug really quickly the fact that Champsgiving is going on right now. We are on round 1, but it's just going to end by the time that you're probably listening to this. I'm going to shut it off at some point on Tuesday. So go ahead and vote for the best hardcore champion of all time if you want to help determine the best hardcore champion of all time, kind of the point of the whole thing. But round 2 is going to start very soon, and we will continue on and figure that out throughout the whole Thanksgiving holiday, and eventually crown that and see if we're doing a Thanksgiving for next year. I'm not coming across anything else.
Champa tweets, "Goodbye, Twitter. Nothing matters."
Oh, that's weird. That's very ominous.
Yeah. Like, if a normal person did that, some other friends might have to go check on them.
Yeah. Hopefully that's not something that is a really big story that we don't want to hear about. I would think that would be the case, but
definitely sounds not. The Fiend was on Raw after the show because, of course.
Yeah, brand split makes sense.
He defended the title in a red steel cage against Seth Rollins.
Why?
Because it was advertised. We have to deliver what was advertised, Tony. What the fuck? What do you think?
Oh, that's so stupid.
Alright, we haven't really talked about AEW. We're going to talk about them more later on this week. What do you think Cody's big announcement is?
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing to put out ahead of time. I think it's going to be that he's going to use the Rhodes name.
Me too. Thank you.
I think he's going to say, I need to tap into what'll make me a champion, and the person who taught me to be a champion is my dad and whatever, so I'm officially going to be Cody Rhodes now.
Thank you. That's exactly what I think it is too.
It'd be kind of funny if he's just kind of like, Pharaoh has a contract or something like. My big announcement, Pharaoh's going to have puppies or something.
Curtis Axel just did more of this Saudi Arabia shit. I told you Luke Harper used the hashtag not top 20, and so did Curtis Axel, where he tweeted a picture on the 2nd when he got home to his dog, and he said not the hashtag top 20, middle finger emoji. I'm number 1 at home. We don't leave each other behind.
So who is the top 20?
So it must have been Roman and Bobby.
Brock. Roman, Bobby. Is that just the people that made the charter that were outside of the Brock thing, or does that count Brock and all that?
Probably counts Brock because they left. Like Roman left, Brock left, Tyson Fury left, Braun Strowman left.
You said Lashley.
The
Revival.
Nakamura was on the Lashley charter. But I think, honestly, I think they chartered a plan for themselves. I think that's why they said that.
Nakamura wasn't one that I was expecting to hear.
Well, he's the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter to them. Look at what they booked him for this title so far and for the United States title so far.
That's true.
Unless it's just that they care about the championship belt.
So something happened, even if it was mechanical issues and people are salty that they got left behind. Something happened and it's not good for the company because you're not presenting a unified front.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that, like, obviously, if something happens and there's extenuating circumstances, you can't kind of just say, all right, everybody gets on a charter, because it's like, well, you can't fit everybody on the same plane, and some different things like that. You could have made sure they got home. But, yeah, I mean, it could have been like, we're in constant contact, we're trying to do everything we can, we're so sorry that this is going on, we're going to try to figure out, because I had read some story, I don't know if there's any validity to it, and I forget who said it, I don't know if it was like, Sean Ross Sapp, Brad Shepard, Dave Meltzer, whoever it is.
Don't put Shepard in the conversation with those two.
No, I mean, it could be a reliable thing. It could be a non-reliable thing. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, yeah.
Like, it could just be some dude's hairdresser heard from a thing on Reddit or whatever, But there was something I had come across that said that WWE was considering buying a plane for these. That they would have their own thing going forward for that.
That might help.
It would be a gesture to say to everybody, look, we're going to make sure that that's not an issue, but I don't know how much they can actually control about that sort of a situation. Kind of seems like the sort of thing you might have figured out ahead of time before that. Maybe it's also complete and utter bullshit that they're not even considering, or maybe it's even something that they're talking about just in the sense of saying, we'll tell them that we're thinking about it, and we're not actually thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Awful situation.
Yep.
might be unfolding a little bit more. We might see people not on television. We might see people leaving their contracts, and we might see people.
Would that help or hurt? If they just like, oh yeah, you're mad? Guess what? You're not on TV. Isn't that worse?
Oh, it hurts them for sure. WWE's in a situation with this that they are clearly not the good guys.
Yeah, they're coming across like real corporate America jackasses.
Yeah, even if they weren't responsible for the stuff that had happened, they didn't handle it well. And even if it's kind of like a matter of ignorance, or because everybody makes mistakes. I mean, even if you're running a $1 billion company, you're going to make mistakes and stuff like that. But you can get a long way out of an apology.
Yes.
And if you're responsible for something and you don't follow through, it is on you to kind of take that burden, and just apologizing sometimes can make the biggest difference in the world. And if it starts becoming like, well, you're not a team player and we're going to say, screw you, then it'll be like, oh, wow. Okay. Well, I don't want to be a team player for this team.
Well, yeah. Well, then I'm not on this team.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
So that's going to be another thing to watch out for. If you start seeing some people that were quote unquote not in the top 20 getting severely buried, oof, not going to look good for WWE.
But we will continue to monitor it. And, should something happen, we'll record an emergency podcast, I'm sure.
Yeah, either that or, I don't know.
Depending on how big of the emergency.
Yeah, hopefully not a really, really big emergency.
Hopefully not like Vince McMahon being held hostage by his roster.
Yeah, nothing crazy like that. Let's knock on wood when it comes to that. But
yeah, I don't have any wood around me. The sound of knocking.
What's the sound of one hand clapping?
I don't know.
Bart knows.
You just knock on your head.
No, that was just me trying to clap with one hand. Oh, that's so stupid. Anyway, that is the hot tags for this week. I talked about my plugs. Rob, toss out your plugs.
Fightful.com is the... Okay, I work for many, 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 many wrestling websites. eWrestling News, WrestleZone.com, do the WrestleZone Daily, love it. But Fightful.com, especially after this weekend, I have to suggest that you subscribe to Fightful Select. They broke so much news this weekend regarding all the stuff that was happening in Saudi Arabia. Fightful has legit sources. Fightful doesn't just run with every bit of speculation. Fightful is the epitome of quality over quantity, and I strongly suggest that you consider Fightful.com as your main news source and subscribing to Fightful Select for all of your breaking news needs. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DudeFelice, and check out 2001 Wrestling Odyssey, which is Smark Moment's retro podcast, where myself and Callum Wiggins hop into a DeLorean that is getting awfully cramped 11 months in, and
you gotta charter your own DeLorean then.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Shit. And yeah, we just reviewed the October pay-per-views of WWF No Mercy and World Wrestling All-Stars. I believe the Reckoning or something, the Genesis. Listen, it was an Australian Super Show. It was bad. It was extremely bad, especially for 2019 standards, homophobic, sexist. It was everything that you wouldn't want to see in 2019. And we review it and tear it down because suckers gots to know. So, check it out. And that'll do it for me.
And as I mentioned before, the next time you're going to be hearing from us is going to be the Invasion Fantasy Booking. And then later on this week, we're going to do our predictions for AEW's Full Gear event, which is happening this Saturday. So then, of course, following that event, after all the live coverage and everything, there's going to be a post show. Same old kind of setup that we do for everything else. So plenty of articles coming for the Wrestling News, Bleacher Report, Smark Moment, and nowhere else. But lots of that happening. Some stuff happening on the Fanboy side. So check out fanboysanonymous.com and just keep paying attention. Just follow me. Just follow all the other accounts. Do all that kind of stuff. And thank you again for listening to this, everybody. Thank you for your comments in advance. Thank you for all your support. We will see you next time. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we're being counted out.